1938, primarily for animal agriculture, livestock. And Gallagher developed a technology which is called low impedance technology, which has the ability to send the power down the fence and have it unaffected by a load on that fence and still deliver a significant shock to the animal. There's a world of electric fencers out there that are not low impedance. You'll see them listed as solid state or continuous current, but they are not a low impedance energizer. And when the weed load gets up on the fence or it gets wet, it's shorted out and you lose your effectiveness. So there is a significant difference in the technology of how we control that animal. There's two problems that we found in the wildlife industry that we've addressed and tried to solve with our product. The first one of those is food plots. With the serious wildlife managers, we found that they go out and they spend a lot of time, and a lot of money, and a lot of effort putting in great food plots. They spend a lot of money on seed. They work the food plot. They bring the pH up. They get it planted. They get it rained on, and then it never gets above 3/8 of an inch high, which we call really lip high. And they get frustrated and they say, brand X didn't work. Well, reality is it's all about managing the deer and keeping the deer off of that food plot until the food plot has grown up to a usable and sustainable height to allow the deer to come in. We can come in with an electric fence system and we can control that white-tailed deer, keep the deer off of the food plot until the food plot is up to the proper height. The exciting thing was, as we got into this and we wanted to refine our fence design, do a lot more research on what it really took, we've aligned with the Deer Channel to do several projects with them, both on feeders and food plots, and also with Dr. James Kroll from Nacogdoches.
I'm here in one of our test plots at the Institute for Whitetail Deer Management Research in cooperation with the Deer Channel, and we've been testing out fence configuration used by Gallagher Fence Company. In this case, the application is to protect a food plot from the deer until it's established. So we were very much interested in testing this particular fence configuration. This one I really like. It's got an outrigger and then it's got two lines inside, about 3-foot offset there on the inside of the plot. Now, as I said, this is one of our research plots, and this one is in an area where we control the deer density. In this particular area, we've got about a deer to 3 acres, and so that's a high deer density. And we figured, by golly, if this fence will work in a high density deer area, it'll work just about everywhere. This particular plot here is a chicory and cowpea plot, and our design is this. We have an area that's protected from the deer using the electric fence. Then adjacent to it we have what we call in science a control area that has no fence around it. They've all been treated exactly the same way, same seeding rate, same fertilization, everything is the same except the presence of the fence. Now what I'm seeing, this is May 23rd, 2008, what I'm seeing I'm really excited about is that we've got a tremendous crop of chicory and cowpeas inside this plot. And outside the plot, the deer have literally hammered the cowpeas and they're starting to work on the chicory pretty good. Now that's a great thing because what we can do now this crop is established, especially the cowpeas, once they get up to the stage where they've got multiple leaves, then they can fend for themselves and withstand heavy deer browsing. So before long what we'll do is we'll take the fence down or drop the fence and let the deer have access to it. But in the meantime, what we're doing here scientifically is that we'll come in and we do this at the test areas over at the Deer Channel as well. We come back in and using a random drawing, randomly select a location along the fence. Then we go in a set direction and we put down a test plot, and then we count the number of stems in that test plot, the height of the two cultivated plants, also measure utilization. In addition to that, we've got cameras, the Cut-A-Beck cameras on all of these plots, so we can monitor the deer coming and going and other animals like wild hogs and things like that. So we can see if it's excluding them. But what the plot measurements allow us to do is A, confirm that the fence is protecting the plot, and B, just how much difference there is between inside and outside the fence, so we get an idea of the economics of it, the utility of it, etc. So we're excited about it. Like I said, we're seeing tremendous protection here. We've got a crop that's protected from our deer. So at this point, I am very excited about the effectiveness of the Gallagher fence.
The second application is in a feeder situation where people are feeding deer and trying to manage deer, but the lion's share of that feed is getting eaten either by the hogs or by the raccoons. With a different fence configuration, we can come in and fence that feeder and we can keep the undesirable species out, namely the raccoons and the wild hogs, at the same time allowing that deer to go over that fence, to go into the feeder and eat, and to go back out of it, but keeping the undesirable species out. If you look at what's happened to feed costs in the last 2 to 3 years and the tonnage that can be produced on an acre of a food plot versus buying it in a bag, we have become extremely cost effective in protecting the feed that's in a feeder and producing on your farm or ranch a food plot at a significant savings to buying it out of a bag or out of a truck.
Well, that's it. That's the end of a 6-month research project on the usefulness of Gallagher fences. And I must say, it's been an interesting experience because each year we get dozens of requests to look at products and concepts and evaluate them for their usefulness in deer management and deer hunting, and quite honestly the vast majority of them don't pan out. But in this case it was a different story. We looked at 2 applications of the Gallagher fence system. One that I'm sitting in here is to keep deer out of food plots until we want them in. The other one was to keep non-target animals such as wild hogs and raccoons away from deer feeders, and so the deer only, you can pretty much feed only deer at your feeders. In this case, in the food plot study, for 6 months now, we have kept deer out of this cowpea and chicory plot at a deer to 2 acres. We've also kept deer out at a deer to 5 acres and a deer to 13 acres. So at 3 different densities, we've kept deer out at will using this 3-strand fence of this highly attractive cowpea chicory plot, and I might add during the time when we had a severe drought. So it's a very effective system. Now, the applications of this system, there are 2 of them. The first one is, in the future, what we're going to do here at our research facility at the Institute for Whitetail Deer Management Research is that we're going to be able to rotate deer from one plot to the next. The end of this experiment was this. After 6 months of excluding the deer from the food plots planted to chicory and cowpeas, we took the wires down and the deer went right in and started feeding on the food plot. We then put the wires back up, and sure enough, the deer stayed out of the food plots again. So what this allows us to do is now we're working on a rotation grazing system for deer using the Gallagher fence system. What is great about the Gallagher fence system is it not only applies to management, but it also has tremendous applications to hunting, because you can erect the Gallagher fence, grow a food plot, keep the deer out of your food plot through most of the growing season, then just prior to hunting season, take the wires down, and you've got yourself a highly attractive food source for your deer, and you're going to make your hunting a lot more effective. So this is one of those cases where we're going to give a big thumbs up. We're going to give an endorsement because we've got the scientific data, we've got the testing, and the scientific integrity behind our conclusions here. So this is a good product, it's a good technique, and we're going to be recommending it in the future.